Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about factoring by grouping. Now, factoring by grouping is the process we want to use for factoring in the instance that we have 4-term polynomials, meaning something that looks just like this: x to the third, x squared, x, whole number, or constant. Now, it doesn't always have to look exactly like this. It can look a little different with the variables, but I'd say 95% of the time when we're doing this, that's the variable configuration we're going to see for the polynomial. Now, factoring by grouping, you actually might find a little reminiscent of the AC method, because factoring by grouping says to take the first two terms and separate them into a group, and then take the second two terms and separate them into a group. We're then going to look at each group. Again, this is very similar to our trinomial AC method, but we're going to look at each group and find its greatest common factor. What do those have in common? So if we look at this first term, or this first group, I should say, and we recognize, okay, we have 24x to the third, 64x squared. Those are some big numbers, but I'm guessing they have at least 8 in common, right? Do they have more than that? Do they have 12? No, I don't think so. Do they have 24 in common itself? Unfortunately, they don't. But they do have 8 in common. So let's take 8 out. So if I know 8 is my largest number for their common factor, I also want to look at my variables. I have x to the third here and x squared there. That means each one has at least how many x's? 2. So 8x squared is actually the common factor among these. So now I want to go ahead and divide out or factor out 8x squared. Dividing 24 by 8 is going to get me 3, and then taking 2 x's out of the 3 that is with that 24 is going to leave me with just 1x, so 3x. Now I want to factor out or divide out 8x squared from 64x squared. 64 divided by 8, negative 8. X squared out of x squared, no variable there left at all. I'm going to move that parentheses a little closer to my binomial. Now we want to look at our second term, negative 21x plus 56. Well, these have a greatest common factor too, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take out their greatest common factor, 21 and 56. Those both share a 7. However, and this is just kind of a little thing to note, if your first term here is negative, you'll almost always want to take out a negative greatest common factor. So since 7 is the greatest common factor between 21 and 56, but the 21 is negative, I'm going to take out a negative 7. And we'll make sure we keep an eye on what that does to this number too. So taking out negative 7 from negative 21x. Negative 21 divided by negative 7 is positive 3. This has an x, and I'm not taking out any x's, so that x is going to remain. Now 56 divided by negative 7. That's where the negative, taking it out, comes in, because we have a positive divided by a negative, so it's going to make a negative number. And 56 divided by 7 is 8. You'll notice something important here. Again, very much like the AC method. We have a self-check mechanism. The terms, or the binomials in these groups, match. That's our self-check mechanism. If those match, we've done something right. If they don't match, then we've gone awry somewhere. But the deal is, our binomial factors, the fully factored form of our original polynomial here, is going to be our 2 GCFs, or our 2 greatest common factors put together, 8x squared minus 7, and then the other binomial factor will be what was left inside these parentheses, left inside those groups, 3x minus 8. And that's our answer. We are going to do one more example here. I'm going to go a little faster with this one. So I'm going to clear this out. We'll do one other practice problem. And that practice problem will be 28x to the third plus 16x squared minus 21x minus 12. So we begin, again, the same way. Put those first two terms in parentheses, put the second two terms in parentheses, and then we look at each group to see what their greatest common factor is. 28x to the third, 16x squared. Both of these numbers are divisible by 4x squared. 4 out of 28 is 7. X squared out of x to the third leaves just 1x left over. 4 out of 16 is 4, and x squared out of x squared leaves no variable left. Taking a look at our second group, negative 21x and negative 12, both of those numbers are divisible by negative 3. Again, the determination that we're taking out that negative really is predicated on our first term being negative. They don't both share a variable, so just negative 3 comes out. Negative 21 divided by negative 3 is positive 7, and that x stays with it because we're not taking any out. And negative 12 divided by negative 3, they're both negative, so we're going to get a positive answer here, 4. Yet again, you'll notice our self-check mechanism, 7x plus 4, 7x plus 4. We did it all right. So our answer is going to be our greatest common factors, 4x squared minus 3, and what was left in our group, 7x plus 4. And we're finished. We're done right there. If you have any questions about this process, feel free to put them in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.